This is SOUQ Pulse. My name is SOUQ, and we are looking at harvest to the farm. And we are asking ourselves, why has the prices not come down as expected, as we were thinking, as a lot of people were? It went beyond thinking. People were praying for it. But now the prices has not come down as expected. Now we are looking at the transportation cost. Over the last 4-5 months, we've been grappling with this issue called fuel, scarcity, availability, not available, subsidy available, subsidy not available, scrapped, not scrapped, queues, no queues. But now, in all of this particular logjam, most of us did not think or consider that there was somebody somewhere that is helping us put food in the market that we'll get to buy and put on the table. Who, if this gets to affect him, every one of us is affected. Now, this is where the question now comes for us to think. How has that local farmer that is not queuing for the fuel, how has that local farmer that doesn't have a car to go and look for fuel to buy, but depends on a particular transporter, a particular means of moving his harvest from farm to the market, how has he fared? These are questions we should now start asking ourselves. Those that have not even moved at all because of issues, could that also be directly affecting the cost of what you get to see in the market? Now, for those of us in the metropolitan cities, we may be like the third, fifth, sixth on the chain from buyers to the next buyers to the bulk buyers before it gets to us. Have we really considered the effect of these queues, these price changes, this unavailability of fuel product to the farmer? So these are things we should start talking about. Most times when we talk about fuel, we talk on high grounds. We look at it, economic indices, we bring a whole lot of statistics. We talk about how it's affecting Dangote. We talk about how it's affecting the aviation industry. We talk about how it's affecting the manufacturing industry, forgetting that the basics is the person that is producing the food that needs to bring it to the market and it gets to you. Most times we don't get to talk about him, her. Now we get to feel the crunch. Then we remember, okay, there is a sector that we are avoiding, and we avoid them to our peril. That is where we are. So we get to talk about how has the farmer fared? That movement from farm to the market. Who is paying that extra cost? Then another question we also get to ask, does the farmer really have the money to move that particular product from his farm to the market? So if he doesn't have that money, how and where is the food going to come? Okay, now let's talk about the farmer. If he has not moved, how is he making profit off the labor that he's putting in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months, depending on what he planted? These are issues we all should start asking ourselves questions and really get to know if we as a people are designing a failure in front, or we are being directly intentional in sorting and solving an issue because it is facing us in the face. A hungry man is an angry man, they say. Don't get lazy. They don't say that because you just know that if you are lazy, then sorry. Now, this is where we are, and we need solutions. Something happened in Lagos, and it's been there for a while, well over 4, 5, 6 months. Right from the inception of the subsidy removal, the Lagos state government provided BRT buses. At a point in time, they slashed the prices of those BRT buses. Now, some of those BRT buses, are they enough? That's a question for another day. But are they functioning? Yes. Now, what's the price like compared to other commercial vehicles? They are lower and they are operational. Now, let's ask this question. What intervention has been done specifically for the farmer? Most people don't think about it. It didn't even come to our minds, or maybe those policy makers, or what intervention was specifically designed to cater for the farmer, because they are the ones that need the fuel subsidy the most. If we decide to target and say, okay, good, where is the productive arm of the economy where we need to subsidize production when it comes to transportation? It is the farmer. Most times we think that they are at the lower ebb of the chain, but they are the ones that are carrying everything up. So what intervention was done? If none was done, which means they get to scrape from the stress of every other profession, every other person, and we wait and want to get food. How did we forget them? Be it the federal, be it the state, be it the local government. How did we forget them? Even if nothing was done from planting season down to nursing, now this is harvest season. Another thing we need to ask ourselves, from the farming communities down to the big towns, before you even start moving maybe from north to south or from east down to south, before you start doing those interstate movements, what is the tax like? Who is holding who ransom? You get to see trucks moving perishables from the north down to Lagos, for instance, and they have checkpoints where they have to drop and pay as they move. Now, do you think the farmer can do that? No. Somebody comes and takes this off his hands. But we are getting there. The farmer that does this labor, is he considered in all this chain? Do we really think about it in all this chain? Because if we don't, then how can we say, let's make farming sexy? Or are we looking at, okay, when the younger ones or the, in quote, educated ones get into the farm, they'll know what to do? No. That is where we will get it wrong, because if we don't take care of these issues, it will affect even the professor that decides to get into it. So who is intervening for the farmer? If every of these incentives, if every of these interventions, if every of this subsidy giving credit went to those considered to be at the top, what about the person that is producing the food for every one of us? What solutions are we making so that he will be able to also move from farm to the market? Then we can buy. Then we can say, okay, good. The prices of this, price of beans was this at this point in time. Price of beans is this at now. Or price of tomatoes is this. Now, for those that were saying tomatoes came down, yes, it did. But to what percentage did it come down? There are several crops down the line. How has this transport affected them? Now, another thing we also need to consider is we all knew, we saw it, that the prices of food was high. There was no gainsaying about that. Now, we also knew that the roads to the farm had question marks on them. We had the period of planting, we had the period of nursing down to harvest. What has changed on those roads? Because if the farmer needs to move harvest out of the farm, he, she, they will ply those roads. What has changed? These are intentional planning for a people that want to move from point A to point B, which means move forward. So what exactly has changed? Questions we just have to ask, and questions we will need answers to. Questions we also need you to talk about. So it doesn't matter which side of the divide you are, whether you are the policy maker, whether you are the one that has money in your pocket and you're buying, you need to ask. We'll get to that of the middleman, because this is where it gets really emotional. We'll get to that of the middleman, because tomorrow you also want the farmer to farm, right? Good. We'll get to that of the middleman. But before we get there, let's go on this very short break. And SOUQ Pulse will be right back. Welcome back. This is still SOUQ Pulse, and we are live on SOUQ News. So it doesn't matter how emotional we come. It doesn't matter how bitter we feel. It doesn't matter, even if we have some hate on our tongues. When we talk about things, let's talk. That way you let it out of your mouth, you let it out of your mind, and you free yourself. We're looking at the farmer. We're looking at transportation from farm to the market. We spoke about that earlier on. I will say, hey, let's get talking about that. Let's keep talking. What and why is the cost still high? Beyond what we expect it to be, our expectation. Now we are looking at the middleman. In quote, the middleman. The middleman has no definition. But we're looking at the middleman as it affects the farmer. And to do justice to this, to talk about it, because he is also from a very big farming community, for those that don't know. And he has also been in the farm and knows what it takes to farm, is our own Dr. Idahosa. Welcome to SOUQ Pulse.
My pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure.
On a farming day.
Oh, yeah. That's where we seem to have the comparative cost advantage.
Okay. Now, let's get down to where we are. Now we have the farmer who labors all through the year. Most people say when there are no rains, it's not farming. But no. He keeps his seeds. He selects his seeds. He separates his seed when he's not farming. Then once the rain drops, he clears his land. He gets more land. He tries to get people to come join, get more hands. If he can use machines, good and fine. If he can get money, good and fine. Then he plants. Then he nurses. Then he harvests. Now, for powers or things beyond his control, he might not be able to move his crops to the market that will really fetch him profits for his gains, for his sweat, for his labor. Someone somewhere that has the means, that has the money, people call it business, moves, let's say, from Lagos and goes to Potiskum and go to Bida and go to Yankari. And now from farm to farm, he's taking beans from these people at 1 naira. At the end of the day, he moves these same beans to Lagos and he's selling at 100 naira. Is that fair?
Well, I don't think it's a question of fairness. And I think it's also very important for us to, just from where you came from, when people talk about food inflations, for example, you're looking at the intervening variables that people are playing in that value chain is something that is of importance to the farmer. You see, because this thing just doesn't happen to farm alone, it also happens to other products.
No, but
you see,
today we are looking at the farms.
The farms, yeah, but of course it's to understand that there's a general principle by which life is generally driven. And so we don't seem to be too emotionally sentimental about farmers alone, because if
the farmer is going to put food on our table.
Oh, yes, that is it.
In the last 3 months ago, beans was a luxury.
Yeah, it's still a luxury as we speak.
The price came down a bit.
A little bit, yeah. But you see, these are the points to note. Number one, the farmer needs the middleman.
The farmer needs the middleman.
Middleman.
Must the farmer need the middleman?
Yes, he does need.
Okay. Some time ago, we used to have pricing boards.
Yes, marketing board, yeah.
Still, I think I met some of those marketing.
Yes.
Niger State government, to be precise, have also reintroduced those particular marketing
board, yeah.
And they said, don't worry, go to the farm, do the planting.
We take it
when
from you.
When it comes to harvest, we will take it off you at market price. Yeah. Which means the farmer will get money, good money in his pocket.
No. When you say market price, you see, it's relative.
It's relative.
Yeah, so
okay, he will get at better than
market price.
Better than what the middleman will take off you.
No. You see, when they tell you market price, it means at the prevailing price. And you and I know that
the farmer doesn't sell in the market.
No.
Most farmers don't sell in the market.
No. When they said we will take take from you at market price, so which means that the marketing board for itself is going to take off from you at the prevailing rate in the market.
And that is better for the farmer.
Yeah, now, but when you look at it very critically, you find that at the time of harvest, when you have surplus, prices tend to drop.
Good. So the farmer can also
so the
look
price,
for how
yeah,
to
now
keep for
the
a while.
price is going to sell
Okay.
is the price that
In the market.
is the market at that harvest season. Now, but you see, the middleman, what they do, they take it from you at that season.
They don't even take at market price. Most middlemen, what we get to see them do that, they buy up the farm. Most times before harvest.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty new trend that's happening right now because, of course, again, people are struggling. But it also depends on the bargaining force and power of the farmer himself.
Look at it this way. Someone that has a better exposure, that we know for sure. The middleman has a better exposure. He has more information at his fingertips. And he has large chunk of money to sway you.
But you see that those guys we are talking about who are doing those kind of sales are pretty petty, subsistence farmers.
That is where we are going to. Yeah. Is it fair on them?
On them. Well, of course, a question of fairness is what alternative outside of that is available. You see,
can't the government, okay, most times we'll go back to the government. There is a local government. There is a particular station within the local government that should take care of these farmers. Why have they all gone to sleep?
I don't think the role of government in terms of stabilizing prices will be that government will have to stay in the street to tell farmer, this is what you are going to sell, this is what I'm going to sell. But also talking about the free market economy, where there is free entry and free exit. Now, what is important, and I think where our farmers need a lot of education, this happened not even at very, very developed level, even at the primordial settings, that you have some certain people, all they do, they just go to the market because the farmer bring their food to sell. This is where, of course, people talk about the problem of value addition, investment in a farm produce value chain, and to see, okay, if they are perishable, how do we preserve them? Now, the risk associated with movement, the farmer don't bear it.
So the middleman bears it.
The middleman bears that risk. So there's an investment involved. That's why I was trying to let you understand. Even in the product market, if you take, for example, if you go and see people who produce, for example, noodles or whatever thing, you will find that from factory price is always far less than what is sold at wholesale and retail.
Okay, but now you're looking at it factory price, good.
Yeah.
But do you know that percentage, we can't compare it to what the farmer...
It's almost like that.
To what the farmer is going
It's almost like that. I started a business, a tissue business. I was making ₦1 on top of one roll. And the guy who is selling in Oba Market in Benin was making ₦40 on top of it. But I needed him to be able to continue to produce. So this is the reality that you find. So what you now leverage on is volume.
What the farmer should leverage on
is volume.
Is volume. Okay.
Yeah. So you leverage on volume.
If the farmer is leveraging on volume, which means the farmer is leveraging on more hard work.
Yeah, more hard work. Yeah. So but I think
for someone else to come make the profit.
Yeah, but both of them are involved. Both of them are involved. Okay. If we
say both of them are involved, okay, then let's now bring it back to the end consumer, which happens to be me and you that have to put food on the table. We pay the price.
Yeah.
When we look at, okay, this is likely what he got off the farmer, and this is what is coming to the market at the end of the day. It doesn't add up.
Well, it looks as if it doesn't add up to you. But to the person who is involved in that trade, probably he's running on a bank loan. with a 32 to 40% interest rate. He's paying for diesel at 1,150 naira. He's paying petrol. He's paying people who are helping to move all of this. And you know, like our road is, you have certain people, some of them extra governmental powers, who needs to be settled on the road to take it from the farm to the market. All these things are factored into the pricing.
Into the final pricing.
Pricing that gets to the average consumer. And I think this is where where government really needs to intervene, is providing the necessary infrastructure, good road, good rail system that can help move this product at a relatively very cheap price from the farm to the upper centers. Now, this is where the failure of government is.
If we say good road, the people standing at the major junctions or the major cities as the trailer or the cart is moving from farm to the major cities, they will still be there. Except we say rail. Nobody will be able to stand.
Can stand the rail. No, but if the road is even good enough, you find that they can move. One of the things that we also find that a friend of mine, he said he tried to do some business with same here in Nigeria and was buying ginger and tiger nut from the Northwest. And so what happened to him was the fact that he discovered that overnight, the cost of moving products that he has even moved already to Lagos from where it was stored, so I could do to get to Papa Port, was not being charged at 3 times. And he wanted to know. And then, of course, the guy, the driver told him, I said, look, you see, this motor is on this road for 3 days. Nobody's going to use it. You are the one hiring it.
So he pays the 3 days?
Yes, you have to pay the 3 days to the driver to move the product. So this is the problem, and this is where logistics really make pricing difficult. And I think this is where we need to see investment. And I think in the First Republic, a lot of that happened when, of course, silos were built all around the country. For example, in Nigeria here, you see every geopolitical zone had this kind of well-built structure, even up to the military era. I remember during Babangida time, some silos were built in my village. So
are they functioning?
No, the silos are there. But whether farmers are able to actually, who is able to take those produce from the farm so that they can be stored is fine. That's one side. But we have also not seen investment in cold storage facilities. For example, for perishables.
Okay.
So that we can actually stabilize prices across season and off season. So this is a challenge, and I think this is where investment is required. We will need government investment in logistics.
When we're looking at this investment now, is it going to benefit the local farmer directly? Not just benefiting the middleman or those that also have the ability or the finances also doing business above the heads of the local farmer?
Yeah, but for the local farmers, and I think they're actually smiling to the bank at the moment, really. It is the final consumer that is paying through the nose as we speak. You see, so and I think that's where the rebalance needs to be done, because once you can ease the problem of logistics and take that away from it, and we are seeing massive investment in this value chain in terms of building of cold storages and storage facilities to be able to receive this thing, so that even farmers can now say, okay, we are preserving this thing till when it is not. And then that's the only way you are able to balance price across season.
Balance price. Okay, now let me drag it this way before we go. Another major thing we get to see middlemen do is hoarding.
Oh yeah, it's part of the game.
It's now a game.
It's a game, yeah. That's part of the game.
What can the local authorities, I'm tired of saying government, what can the local authorities do? Typical example, beans season has come. Beans doesn't need much. You don't need much. Just dry it, bag it, store it.
You know,
same thing with melon. Dry it, bag it, store it.
Yes.
Same thing with rice. Bag it, dry it a bit, and store it. But once harvest is done, before you say jack, you don't get to see the beans anymore. You don't get to see the melon anymore. So you think, okay, they're very expected. But give it 2-3 months down the line, you'd see warehouses that you think nothing was happening there, and they are opening shop, and these things are coming back on, thanks to the middleman. And the prices go ×4, ×5. What can the authorities do?
Yeah, but that is the point. There's really, I think it was recently when there were grain scarcity in Nigeria, the governor of Kano State, some northern state, Kebbi State, and all of them made some pronouncements that, number one, they wanted all warehouse open so that they can flood the streets with products. Number two, they didn't want foreigners to come into the environment to come and buy produce so that there'll be food for local problem. And I think for me, that's a good problem to have. That you are having a situation that people are, can they also be thinking, for example, again, talking about infrastructure provision, so that the farmers can actually farm through the year.
And not wait for the
we are not waiting for dry season. We have a lot of body of waters that can actually be converted into some of all these things.
But you know, this area you're going to right now is more like trying to shake tables that will break.
Yes, the table can break for who cares. So what I'm saying is that
we have a ministry that has sectors called River Basin Authorities.
Yeah,
and every of these River Basin authorities,
they are scattered all around the place.
And they are mandated on irrigation.
Yeah.
We have irrigation dams up and down this country.
Yeah.
The last one that broke and flooded a particular state is also an irrigation dam. And budget is going. These are tables that we don't want to go to.
We should shake those tables because they have to really function.
So if they are functioning, why won't farmers farm? Because that money has been released.
Yeah. This is where, of course, because when they say River Basin Authority, you know, many Nigerians don't even know what it is. So it's difficult for you to actually see somebody on the street. You can do a skit and take a microphone to the street and ask an ordinary Nigerian and say, River Basin Authority, what work do they do? People seem not to understand that they are supposed to be very functional to an agric economy like Nigeria by providing adequate infrastructure that will help farmers to farm throughout the year.
They are very functional with the budget.
Yeah, of course, because people don't put eye on it. Because they are not Ministry of Power, they are not Ministry of Works that seem to be doing construction. So
and if you want to,
so it's like a blind spot.
Do you really want to go to that table? Because there is also Fadama Authority.
Yeah.
A full agency in this country that is still funded in the budget every year.
Yeah. So this is where really the Federal Ministry of Agriculture really needs to be up and doing. And at the moment, really, there's too much of administration.
Could it be that, because these particular sectors you just mentioned now, they are the ones that directly affect the local farmers?
Yeah.
So could it be that because, nobody's going to speak up for them,
nobody really cares.
Everything goes?
Yeah. You know, those days there used to be extension workers who also move around from community to community to incentivize farmers, educate them on preservation, planting. All these things have disappeared into the thin air. And these are the things that the government must be looking into to see that the farmer have sufficient knowledge. And you see, because a lot of people do farming for subsistence and they don't have the idea about the commercialization of farm. And that's why farmers are very poor in this part of the world.
Some farmers.
And most farmers, only very few farmers are wealthy. Most farmers are very poor in this part of the world because they have not been enlightened to the point of able to commercialize farming. But when you go to the West, you see farmers are big boys. So we can change that narrative. If the authorities concerned should do what they should do by enlightening people, and all these issues that we talk about today, unemployment, unemployability, we can find them in the lexicon. If the necessary things are done by government, like you have said, to provide this basic thing. I'm not saying intervene in farm, but I'm saying create the environment for both farmers and consumers so that they can have good life. So what does that entail? We have good roads, we have good bridges, we have a good rail system, water transportation system. That, for example, if you are going to move yam from Anambra Onitsha to Lagos, you don't need to come by road. A boat can do that and drop it here in Ikorodu. So these are all transportation mode that needs to be developed so that you can ease the problem on the road. And that also will even make your road last longer because you are taking pressure from heavy trucks on your road.
As long as it reduces the effect and the activities of the middleman on the farmer, I'm 100% for it. But now, let me take this one more question before I let you go. The harvest season is almost over.
Yeah.
Thank God for longer period of rainy season this year. Farmers are happy, good. Now the fuel price is what we are not too sure. We wake up to hear different news.
Because the market price is, the market is determining the cost.
The farmer doesn't know this indices. Do you see the food prices still coming down?
Well, I don't see it coming down. I don't see it coming down because a lot is even involved in food right now because we are seeing big boys are also going into the farm. Everybody's a farmer right now. And of course, the purpose of this is that people want to make more money in farming. And people must not also take this one out, that commerce has actually get into the farm. And therefore, those who are investing in farm at the moment, they don't invest in farm for being Father Christmas. They want to be able to make money out of the farms. And that's why you see, for example, a lot of people make this argument. Why is it that rice that is produced in Nigeria is more expensive than the one that is shipped from abroad? Which was one of the reasons a lot of people called for the opening of the border so that there can be competition. Maybe that drag down the price of the food, because those who are making farm right now and they are putting so much money on the ground, if you go to some fintech and see what is happening there, where people are selling agricultural products, you find that it's much more profitable than the money market and the capital markets.
Okay. For everyone out there that is farming, keep doing it. Please don't stop. And for every local farmer that gets to watch us, just know that we are here for you. And we'll keep talking this until it gets to the appropriate quarters. And for every middleman out there, yes, you're doing your business, but be fair.
Okay, yeah.
At least be human. Let that human side of you, let it show more. Everybody has a feminine side in them. Let that feminine side show some more. The good feminine side, I mean. Thank you very much for coming on SOUQ Pulse.
Always a pleasure. And we hope that we become full sufficient in matter of years, that we will not need to be relying on foreign nations to feed ourselves. Yeah, a few years.
If we are intentional, 2 years is enough.
Yeah, I agree with you to some large extent, but a lot needs to be done in that regard. There's a whole lot of rejigging that needs to be done. And I do hope that those who are in public service will also take this bull by the horn and see how to make Nigeria a really full, sufficient nation.
Okay. Everybody keeps saying that military power is the first. But to tell you the truth, food power is the first. A hungry nation is not secure. Your borders are as porous as air. And for everyone out there, please support a farmer today. Take it upon yourself. If you can't get your hands dirty and get to the farm, then make some investment. Let farming work for you and for us as a nation. And for everyone that is responsible for getting these funds, be it from the river basins, be it from the Fadama agencies, be it from any of this Federal Ministry of Agriculture sector departments, please, we are appealing to your conscience. Do your jobs. Thank you for being part of SOUQ Pulse today. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks. This is more like a scratch. We will come in and shake this particular table focusing on these places doctor went to, but just hold in there. Remember, love your neighbor as yourself and be your brother's keeper. We love you here too. Have yourself a beautiful evening. Bye.